What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video. And in this video we will talk about Ferran Torres, because the Corriere dello Sport and also Dave Maddock of the Mirror is reporting that Liverpool are one of the favorites to sign Ferran Torres on a free transfer, on a busman transfer. And this could be an absolute huge transfer because his deal, his current contract expires in 2021, so next year. So as early as next January, Liverpool can start negotiating with Ferran Torres for an absolutely free bargain transfer. And considering that his release clause is 100 million euros, this would be an absolutely fantastic deal. So in this video we will take a look at a detailed look at how Ferran Torres has performed so far for Valencia, how his career so far. He is a right winger, just 20 years old. He is a starting 11 player for Valencia, who are having a pretty good season. They went out of the Champions League in the last 16, and Ferran Torres already scored 6 goals this season in 35 games, so he is playing a lot of football. And of course his 100 million euro release clause will be void when his contract only has 6 months left to go. And Torres is a winger, but not necessarily an inside forward in the manner that we use Salah or Mane. For Valencia he plays on the right wing in a 4-4-2 formation, and he is famous for his ability to maintain possession in tight spaces, tight areas. And interestingly, in his aerial duels, his contribution this season in all competitions, 6 goals and 6 assists, which you might say it's not a lot, but for a 20-year-old player playing in one of the strongest leagues in the world, La Liga, it's a pretty decent number. And in Spain he is very highly regarded and as one of the rising stars of La Liga, and those are the kind of players that Liverpool like to sign. And he represented Spain at the under 16, under 17, under 19 and under 21 youth levels. And Liverpool are actually well aware of interest in Ferran Torres from both Real Madrid and Barcelona, so it won't be that easy to just get him on a free transfer, because many other clubs will be interested in Ferran Torres. He can actually play on both wings, on both flanks, and he also has the aerial ability which allows him to play across the front line. So even as a striker, if you have a shortage in the striking department. And also in the Champions League, this has been Ferran Torres' breakthrough season, because he has 2 goals and 2 assists in 5 Champions League games this season, so his stock has risen in his home country. Torres is already a regular in the Spain under-21 side, and you know how good Spain is in all levels of professional football. Even the under-21 side is really strong, so I think that this guy is a really big talent, and if Liverpool can get him on a free transfer, I think that would be an incredible piece of business. And his form for Valencia has made him an automatic first team selection for the Spain under 21 side. And he just turned 20 at the end of February. He was actually born in a leap year on February the 29th. Just a little interesting fact for you guys. So strictly speaking, he can only celebrate his birthday every 4 years in every leap year, which is quite funny. And what is really impressive about Ferran Torres is, even though he just turned 20, so he was 19 years old in February, he already played 88 games for Valencia in all competitions. He started off his career like in the Valencia B team, but he was very quickly promoted to the Valencia first team 2 seasons ago actually. So when he was 17 years old, he was already playing for the Valencia first team, and that's a very good achievement. He also has won silverware. He won the Spanish Cup last season, the Copa del Rey, in 2018-19 season, where Valencia famously beat Barcelona in the cup final. And of course Barcelona was still licking their wounds after losing a 3-0 lead in the Champions League to Liverpool and lost 4-0 at Anfield. And Valencia took full advantage of Barcelona being still jaded and shell-shocked from that famous victory of Liverpool. And of course Valencia are hopeful that they can persuade Ferran Torres to sign a new contract, but they are protected by a release clause. But as I said, if the contract runs down to just 6 months, then that release clause goes out of the window, and anybody can basically sit down and negotiate with Ferran Torres, any foreign clubs. And Ferran Torres has signed his current deal on his 18th birthday, so basically 2 years ago, which means that Valencia probably didn't want to risk putting a very big contract on such a young player at a very early age. But this could come back to bite them, because now it looks like Ferran Torres could run down his contract and then see what kind of options he has, see what kind of clubs are interested in him, and Liverpool will be the front runners for his signature. The big question for Ferran Torres is, would he be happy going to Liverpool and sitting on the bench? Because make no mistake, Ferran Torres would be a squad player, bench player, and we could develop them in the years to come. Or should he stay at Valencia and play regular football? And even though you know, guys, that I'm a huge Liverpool fan, if I was Ferran Torres, I would still stay at Valencia for another 2, 3, 4 seasons. Maybe try and sign a contract extension with a better contract, bigger salary. And then when you are good enough to play for one of the big teams, that's when you should move. Ferran Torres at the moment is not good enough to play ahead of Salah, ahead of Mane. He could be a very useful squad player, but I think a 20-year-old Spanish winger would be a little bit wasted sitting on the bench. And also there is the argument that instead of signing Ferran Torres, why not just keep Harry Wilson, who is already used to English football, he's already used to playing in the Premier League. Because right now I don't think Harry Wilson is that much worse than Ferran Torres. In fact, maybe Harry Wilson is a little bit even better right now, because he's a little bit further in his footballing development. So that's where you have to be very careful with these transfers. But of course, on a free transfer, if Ferran Torres would be happy to just sit on the bench at Liverpool, I'm all for this signing. And the fact that he only has 1 year left on his contract after this season probably indicates that Valencia will want to sell him this summer if he doesn't sign a new contract, which means there will be a bidding war for his signature, because not only Real Madrid and Barcelona are interested in him, but apparently Liverpool and Manchester City and even Juventus are monitoring and scouting this guy. And what is also very impressive about Ferran Torres is not only did he win the Spanish Cup last season for Valencia, he also won 2 European Championships. The under 2017 European Championships, he won that in 2017, and then he won the under 19 European Championship with Spain in 2019. He's part of another great generation coming through in Spain, in the Spanish national team. And what is also impressive is that Ferran Torres made his first team debut 3 years ago, in 2017, November the 30th, when he came on as a substitute in Valencia's 4-1 win against Real Zaragoza. And also, he became the youngest ever goal scorer for Valencia in the Champions League when he scored his first ever Champions League goal, scoring in a 4-1 home win for Valencia against Lille. And he also became the first player born in 2000 from Spanish teams to score in the Champions League. And he also broke the 40-year-old record of Miguel Tendillo, and became the youngest ever Valencia player to reach 50 La Liga games at the age of under 20, so at 19 years of age and 324 days, he played his 50th league game for Valencia, which is really, really impressive. And also when he won the Spain under 19 European Championship with Spain, he scored the winning penalty in the semi-final victory over France, which means that he has really, really good nerves of steel, basically, to score the winning penalty in a semi-final in an under-19 European Championship is really impressive. And Torres has been described as a traditional wide midfielder due to his work rate and penchant for running to the touchline, and he's also capable of cutting inside towards the center of the pitch due to his role, nationality and playing style. He has been likened to the Real Betis legend Joaquin, who is still playing at the age of 39 or something. And just to further describe what kind of player he is, Ferran Torres is known in particular for his pace, creativity, his good technique, very good ball control, and he has a very good close control when he's running at speed at defenders, which enables him to take on opponents and overload the flanks. His height and his good athleticism and heading ability also makes him a very strong aerial presence. And in 2018, this is how Spanish football expert and journalist Guillem Bargué described Ferran Torres. He's a dribbler, fast on the wing, he can play on either wing, he has got ability, intelligence, he can also play as an inside forward if needed, so he's a modern winger. And the Valencia Academy of Director of Recruitment, Jose Jimenez, stated this about Ferran Torres: he's powerful, he's quick, he's steady with the ball at his feet, and he's strong in the air. He's unpredictable. When he's running with the ball at his feet, he can go on inside or outside his man because he is two-footed. He can cross, he can finish, he can shoot. So I mean, on a free transfer it makes no sense. Even if Liverpool decides to sign him this summer, I think he would be a perfect replacement for a player like Xherdan Shaqiri as a squad player for Liverpool next season. And even if Liverpool decide to sign him this summer, I mean, or whenever the next transfer window is open, we don't know that yet. For a cut price deal like 20-30 million pounds, I think that would be a really good transfer business. It's a low risk transfer either way. And I think this is where Liverpool excel usually. And James Pearce, who is a very well-connected Liverpool-based journalist, has reported that Nike, Liverpool's new kit manufacturer, have decided that it's only right to allow Liverpool to lift the Premier League title and win the Premier League in a New Balance kit, even if that happens after the New Balance deal expires. This is what a Nike source told James Pearce. Legally it could have been enforced, as the contract clearly states the date of June the 1st when the Nike-Liverpool partnership begins, but it was decided that it just wouldn't have been right to storm in and take over. Things have been very cordial. It was always the plan that Liverpool would start wearing Nike kit in pre-season ahead of the 2020-21 season, and that remains the case. It's only right that they see out the rest of this season in New Balance. We are very much focused on next season. That's what a Nike representative said, and I think it's the right thing to do, in all honesty. And according to the German outlet Sport 1, Hertha Berlin are interested in bringing in Loris Karius on a permanent deal ahead of next season. Loris Karius is surplus to requirements at Besiktas. He just made too many mistakes, and I think for Karius' career and for his self-confidence, it would be just perfect to go back to Germany and rebuild his career in Germany. I mean, even if he goes to another Premier League club, the Premier League fans would just abuse him too much, in my opinion. And probably his mental health is not in the best place, even like almost 2 years after that fateful Champions League final night against Real Madrid, where he made 2 horrendous errors. I mean, even the strongest people would struggle to recover from that. But I think in Germany, back in familiar surroundings, would actually help Karius. Besiktas don't want to sign him permanently, and Karius will return to Liverpool at the end of this campaign, which will be quite weird because he was away from Liverpool for 2 years. So it will be quite unusual to go back to Liverpool and greet his former teammates and his manager Jurgen Klopp. And also Hertha Berlin really need a new goalkeeper because their current options are veterans, all above 30 years old, and Karius is just 26 years old, so he would be a decent replacement for any of Hertha Berlin's goalkeepers right now. And I wish Karius all the best. I really hope he finds a decent club for him. It's just a shame it didn't work out at Liverpool. But up until the Champions League final, Karius was actually performing at a good level. But maybe that Champions League final was a blessing in disguise, because that showed Liverpool that they really need a world-class goalkeeper. That's why we went out and bought Alisson, and the rest is history. You know, guys, how amazing Alisson has been in the past 1.5 seasons, really. Liverpool had a lot of success in the past 2 seasons, and that's in part thanks to the man behind the scenes who runs the transfer business, Michael Edwards. I want to talk about him because he's pulling the strings behind the scenes with the transfer business. And when he joined Liverpool in 2010, he didn't get enough responsibility because Brendan Rodgers didn't want really to share the responsibility, so that he was part of a transfer committee. But since he became basically the man responsible for Liverpool transfers, he has gone from strength to strength. And I mean, the deals that he made, he signed Mo Salah, Mane, Firmino, Andy Robertson, Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Alisson and Virgil van Dijk. What a team he built, thanks to his incredible talents, and also thanks to Liverpool and their money, and thanks to Jurgen Klopp. But he identified some players. I mean, just Salah is a perfect example. Jurgen Klopp was not a big fan of Salah. He didn't really want to sign him. But Michael Edwards and the Liverpool transfer committee recommended Salah to Jurgen Klopp, and he said ultimately, why not? I trust you guys. And in comes Salah, and he scores like how many, 44 goals in his first season or something like that, and he's still on course to break all kinds of goal scoring records at Liverpool. I really hope that Salah stays at Liverpool for the next 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, and he goes on to become a Liverpool legend, because I think he is on course to break all kinds of goal scoring records, and he's already on his way to becoming a legendary figure at the club. And former Portsmouth and Scotland midfielder Richard Hughes has actually worked with Michael Edwards at Portsmouth previously, and he recognizes how Michael Edwards was special. This is what Hughes said about Michael Edwards. On Mondays, he used to be the first port of call for myself and a good few of the other boys. We have go into his office and have our stats read back to us on how we had performed at the weekend. He'd played football himself, so he was used to that sort of camaraderie and those exchanges of banter with footballers. A lot of people in those roles come from a non-footballing background, and sometimes they find fitting into the atmosphere of a football club quite difficult. Michael was different because he had an opinion and he let you know it. He's got a great sense of humor, and he wasn't afraid to tell me, or even my more illustrious teammates, that we had been garbage at the weekend, statistically speaking. He was the first person with that job description that I had come across as a player. And basically Michael Edwards took responsibility of organizing a weekly Champions League predictions game. Each week he would collect score predictions from players, and whoever came last would have to drive a custom three-wheeled car to training and then modify it in some outlandish way in time for the next round of Champions League fixtures. And that's, I think, a hilarious prank basically that you had to be part of if you lost the Champions League prediction game, which I think is a really good like team building exercise, because it brings players together, closer together, and it builds morale, and it's just hilarious. I just wanted to share that story with you guys, and what Hughes, who formerly worked with Michael Edwards at Portsmouth, what he said about Michael Edwards, because we don't hear a lot about him, but I think we should talk about him a lot more than we do. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you guys. Goodbye.